Hi, it's Cheryl from Garden in the Borough, gardening here in my Central Mass garden in Zone 5B6A. And today we're going to be talking about a little redo we're doing of this garden we've been having some problems with. So we think we came up with a solution. So stay tuned and see how it all works out. All right, so first I'm going to show you where this garden is, and I'm going to talk about what's been going on the last couple of years, which has been some tree loss and some plants that have been unhappy, and talk about what's staying, what's going. So let me flip the camera around. First, I'm going to show you where we are and in relation to the garden. And you can see behind me is a really big maple tree, red maple, which is one of the problems we're dealing with. So let's flip around. All right, so here we are looking at the garden. Here's the maple tree. And this is where the garden is located off the back of our house. So for years, we had these really large mugo pines, and I'm going to show you the stumps are here. They were not doing well. They had really sort of outlived this space. They were too big. They were just very unhappy. So we made the decision 2 years ago to pull them out. So we did that sort of on an impulse without having a plan for what the garden was going to turn into. So after they were taken out, we had to build the soil up a little bit. So we spent the first year just adding in compost and stuff. So now we have pretty decent soil in here I can plant in, but we had no idea what to plant. So I'm going to show you what we ended up adding. So first of all, right behind here, there's a big stand of variegated Solomon seal. So I put some in here, and this will spread out hopefully and fill this little area in here. I also transplanted some white snakeroot, which wasn't happy where it was in the garden. So I had 3 plants I transplanted here, and as you can see, I'm down to 1. So that plant is actually going to stay in here. It seems very happy where it is, and I'm not going to bother with it. In front of it is a really cool plant called Salvia glabrescens, and this one I think is Momobana. And this is a Japanese woodland sage, which blooms in October, and it's beautiful. It was very unhappy where it was living, so I relocated it to here where it's been doing much better. So for now, it's going to stay. It's going to come out next year when I can divide it and move it around. And it's planted next to an oak leaf hydrangea, which is planted as a very, very small plant start. It's just starting to really get itself situated, and I'm hoping that's going to fill out this spot. And I'll back up so you can see where that's going to be in here. So that Joe Pye weed, I'm hoping, is going to take up this whole area in there, right up against the variegated Solomon seal. That Summon Substance hosta is going to stay. The one next to it is going to go because it's getting too much sun. So now we'll talk from the front about the biggest problem I have with this garden, which is the sun comes up behind it. So behind this cedar and to the left, that's where sunrise is. So when the sun is setting in the afternoon, this garden that has been in shade almost all day gets hit with several hours of hot afternoon sun, which is really tough conditions for any plant. So last year, what we did first was we planted these 3 low-growing spirea bushes, and they were to fill out the front. And then we had planted interspersed between them 3, I don't know if they're called fire chief or fire engine, fire something, arborvitaes. And that winter, the rabbits ate all 6 shrubs down to nubs. The spirea bounced back, the arborvitaes didn't, so they had to come out. So rabbits is the secondary problem. So sun and rabbits. So we've sort of made clear that the spirea is a happy camper here, so they're going to stay. This hellebore has been here forever and ever and ever. Even when the mugo pine was here, it's one of the last plants that was sort of on the edge there. I'm going to leave that here for now. And there were also some heuchera. You can see there's a few of them that are still hanging on in here, and those are going to stay. Behind it, we're big antiquers, and we love to get stuff for the garden all over the place, which is still what's going to be happening in this garden. And this is piece of a baby crib. At least that's what it was told to me that it was. And there's 4 of them in the garden, all over in different beds. And this is just one of 4. And there's been a clematis growing on it, Alba luxurians, and you can see it's just finished blooming. But the problem here is, again, rabbits. So the protection that has to happen around the base of this for it to survive the rabbits is pretty ugly. So we're going to take the clematis off the baby crib headboard, and we're going to put in a different structure in there. The exhaust fan is going to stay. This is actually one of my very favorite things in winter. When the wind is blowing, this thing just looks really cool. So that's going to stay. There are some other plants in here that are just not being able to survive rabbit. This is burnet, sanguisorba. By now it should be 3 feet tall. It just keeps getting chomped right to the ground. I put in some low-growing blueberry bushes that are caged off right now. So there's 3 of them, and those are hopefully going to stay. I also rescued this. This is a limelight hydrangea. I had been growing in a container for years and years, and it was fine, but I just felt bad for it because it was growing in the tiniest little container. So I popped it out and popped it in the ground here, and this can certainly handle the sun that this bed gets late in the day, no problem. So this is going to fill out and make sort of the back of it. And the other plant that's going to make the very back part of this is already here. It just needs to be moved, and it's a Dart's Gold 9-bark that I knew was going to go in here. So I healed it in. It was just a seedling that I've been growing on, and I'm going to put it back into the area behind, next to the chocolate Joe pie weed or white snake root. Everybody has a different name for that plant. The one with the purple leaves right there. So right in that zone right there, that little dead zone, that's going to be this Physocarpus, this 9-bark Dart's Gold. That can also handle multiple different exposures. It can handle part shade, almost full sun, part sun, really just there's almost no conditions that 9-bark can't take. It will get a little powdery mildew if it's too shaded, so I'll just have to keep an eye on it. But anyway, that's going to go in that dead zone. What's making up the rest of the ground cover in here is a plant called Russian comfrey. And this plant is incredible, again, for its just ability to thrive anywhere. And it spreads out, but that's okay because that's what you want a ground cover to do. I'm going to go in closer so you can see it has these really beautiful textured leaves, just really easy to take. It does like a moist soil, but it's really easy to take care of. It's not blooming now. Oh, there's some that are blooming. Let's see if I can go in so you can see the color of the flower on this thing. It's just amazing, and the bees love it. And I give a lot of this plant away whenever I have garden tours. I'm going to go in on the label so you can see its name, and I don't have to add it to the screen later. So it's a Russian comfrey. Beautiful, beautiful ground cover plant. And now I've just cut it back, and I'll come in and take off any of those leaves that were suffering from lack of water when it was so hot. Easy to care for. So that's going to stay. There's a clematis that's located in there underneath that little structure, and that is going to stay. It's been cut back for it just finished blooming, so it always gets cut back just because it gets some dead leaves, and I don't like that look. What you're looking at there is water crystals that have escaped that were helping this hydrangea get settled in, because this hydrangea just went in. This hydrangea is a smooth hydrangea. It's one of the Incredible series. I can't remember what its name is, but I'm hoping that this is going to settle in. I'm going to rebury the water crystals, and we're going to see if we can get it to be happy here, even though it does get a lot of afternoon sun. I think if it has enough water, it's going to be better. So that's the plan. Oh, one more plant that's in here that's going to stay. This is a little aster. I think it's October Skies. It's one of the few asters, and I should knock wood before I even say it. It's one of the few asters I have that the rabbits don't really bother too much. And so that's going to stay. And that little Astilbe that's not doing well, I'm going to give it a little bit longer and see if it will stay. So the first part of this project is going to be to get the clematis off this little headboard and get it onto its new structure, which is standing right there. So the second part of this adventure is that we're going to put this is from a dairy farm, and you can see it's already got holes in it. I think it was either a water or a food trough. And we went this week to Brimfield, which is a big antiques market here in Massachusetts. It's pretty famous. Lots of people know it. It runs 3 or 4 times a year and has multiple fields. It's just massive. And we went there this week. And we also have these plants that are going to go hopefully in there. And I'm going to show you when I go to construct that container later on after we get the bed ready for that. Well, Bill's over here leveling the container we just put in. I moved the 9 bark, and when you're planting this close to a tree, you really don't want to do too much root disturbance, and you don't want to build the soil up too much. So this is a really good choice for this area, the 9 bark, because it can tolerate just about anything. So I dug a little bit of a hole, and then I used my hands. I filmed it all, but I forgot to wear my mic because the learning curve on making these videos has been pretty steep for me. But anyway, I added in some starter fertilizer and a couple shovelfuls of compost, and dug down in between the roots of the maple, trying to do the least bit of disturbance possible. And I would never have done this with a potted container plant from like the nursery, because the root ball would have been too big. So starting this from seed and doing it that way left a root ball that was manageable enough to be planted in the roots of this tree. All right, so the container's leveled, and we're going to walk around front, and I'll show you where we are right now. So one of the things about going to Brimfield is one of the cardinal rules is absolutely never go there with something in mind, because it's so overwhelming and there's so much stuff. And if you go there and say, I definitely need X item for a certain spot, you are going to drive yourself crazy trying to find it, and you probably never will. So you just have to go there usually with an open mind and walk around. And my intent when we went there was to take video footage of some of the different vendors that we went to, some of the different options we considered. And we parked in a field I'll put a little video at the end. We parked in a field that we have never parked in before, and there were some booths right in that field. The very first booth we walked up to, she had this container, this galvanized steel, came from a dairy farm, and we purchased it, walked it back to the Jeep, and then we almost felt silly staying there and walking around anymore, because we found exactly what we were looking for in the first 5 minutes of our trip, and it was really hot. So we walked around for a bit. We bought a couple of other things, not too much, and then we came home with our treasures, which were the perfect things that we were looking for this area. So because of what this is, it already had drainage holes in the bottom. We don't have to do anything about that whatsoever, which is great. We just put some clear coat on it so that it will manage the water a little bit better. But this is way too deep to fill with potting soil. and it will get really heavy anyway. So we're going to use what we always use, which is our recycling. So this is just, we'll need more than this, but we're going to start with what was in this bin. And this is all just stuff that was in our recycle bin, and we'll go grab some more and we'll build it up, maybe another 2 layers. And then that will give a lot of volume in the bottom without having any weight. On top of that is going to go a layer of compost, and the very top, maybe 4 to 6 inches, is going to be potting soil. All right, we're ready to pot up this container now. And in the center here is actually a perennial plant. This is a hibiscus. It's called Summerific Cookies and Cream. It's a proven winner's plant. And so I'm gonna, we'll see. This might overwinter. I haven't made a decision about whether I'll take it out for the winter. Either way, this plant is gonna be a permanent part of the garden, but for now it's gonna be in this container. And on the side here, to mimic the white over there of the hydrangea, we're going to put this pentas in, and I'm going to come back and put the soil in after we're done. But for now, we're just going to figure out if this is how we want these plants to look. But Bill, how's that look for placement? Good. All right. And then I have 2 of these yellow lantana. This one is called nothing. It's just called lantana. It's got no name whatsoever. But that's what you get when you go to Lowe's. At this time of year, you got to take what you can get from anywhere. So Lowe's it was, and that's where I found the lantana. So that's going 1 on either side. How's that look for placement over there? And then the other one is going on this side. How's that look for placement where that one is? Good. All right, so I was going to put, this is another perennial plant. This is a coreopsis called Little Bang. So it doesn't get that tall. Let's see. Little Bang red leaf coreopsis, and this is going to get to be about 12 inches tall. So it's probably at its max height. So these plants, I probably just got dirt all over my nose. These plants, I've had terrible luck. Even once they get established here, they're great. But before that, they are really rabbit favorites, which makes no sense. But anyway, I was going to put it toward the back, and Bill suggested putting it toward the front. So now it's going to be a little bit taller for now than the hibiscus, but this hibiscus is in active growth. It's going to just keep going and going. So that's just temporary. Okay, 3 more plants. This is sombrero lemon yellow coneflower. Break up the root ball on that. And when I'm done, I'll come back and give this a quick shot of some slow release fertilizer and obviously water. But for now, we're just going to get the plants in. So the coneflower is going to go. And again, this coneflower, I didn't even check what the height of it was going to be. It says it's going to get to be about 18 to 24 inches tall, so a little bit taller than that. So that's going to go there. And the last 2 plants that are going in have just been started. And this is an evolvulus. It's a bush morning glory, a little morning glory with blue flowers. And I wanted to order seeds of this, but it was too late. So I got little plants, and they're just started to get going. And they're going to go in the front here. And it will take them a little bit to kind of become prominent in the pot, but it will happen faster than you think. So they're going to go right in the front here next to the lantana. And then we'll have a little hit of blue right there around the yellow lantana. And that's what this container is going to look like. Let me step out of the way. Let me step back and look. Yeah, that's going to look super. Okay, so now I got to tuck some more potting soil in there, put some slow release fertilizer in there, and give it a good water. And then we can look at this bed one more time. The only thing that I might do is pan over this way, Bill. I have these 3 onion plants right here. They're all alliums. One is Medusa, one is Millennium, and the other one I can't remember the name. But I think I'm going to scatter these in this garden as maybe a little bit of a deterrent to see if we can protect some of the other plants by putting allium in here that the rabbits won't eat. Um, this year, for the first year, we had a rabbit munching on chives, which is ridiculous. But I'm going to see if putting these onions in and around some of the stuff will help some of the rabbit damage in this garden. Okay, we are done, and I am pretty pleased with how this ended up. So I did not mention that in here also is plant that's baptisia, that's twilight prairie blues. That's it right in front of the container. I had relocated that here because it was in a spot that was too shady and it wasn't blooming at all. It has a beautiful smoky purple color. And I was thinking about moving. It doesn't like to be transplanted. I was thinking about moving it again, but I think it's fine. It's going to fill out and it will probably come forward toward the sun. So I'm okay with it staying there. And there's a little bit of it over here that actually is going to help when there's a hole when I actually do move that hosta, which I did not also move. And I'll tell you the reason I didn't move it yet is because I know that I just transplanted this whole garden and moved things in it, so I'll be really good about watering it. But if I move that somewhere else, I might not remember. So I'm going to wait until it looks like we're going to get some rain for a bit, and then I'll move it right before then, and it will settle in and be fine. So there's that baptisia in there. So the only part of this bed that's bothering me now is the hydrangea that I know needs to recover from. It suffered a little shock when it got put into the ground. We left on vacation and it was near 100 degrees for 3 days in a row. And so it suffered a little shock, but it's going to come back and it's going to be fine. So this container came out perfect. It's perfection. I love it. For me, that's just great. I did end up adding in the onions. That's just covering that Sanguisorba. Hopefully it will bounce back a little bit. So it was Millennium, Serendipity, and Medusa. And what the nursery person told me is in her experience, the three of them, this is a Millennium that's already coming into bloom, and this is Serendipity. And she said they all bloom at slightly different times, so you get a pretty long succession. And this is Medusa, which is in a little wire cage because I had one and I figured why not. So it's sitting there next to, oh, there's my shadow. Sorry about that. So it's covered next to the, oh, there's a bug in my hair. Sorry about that. You could see my shadow. I had a little freak out thinking it was a bee, but it was actually a beetle. So there's my little blueberry bushes that just went in. I'm hoping they're going to fill out into nice little mini shrubs in here. The last thing in here, and you can see now that, remember I told you my big problem was the sun. So it's right behind me and it's hitting this garden full on. And it is about 5:15 right now. And it's been at it for about an hour and it will go until the sun starts to go down behind the tree line. The other little plant that's in here, you might have noticed, I don't know if I panned over it at all, are these three little Rosa glaucas. And this plant I love, and there's one right in there. That one's probably going to stay. But when I pick up this plant seeds itself around the garden, and when I dig them out, I always put them near the edges of gardens when I'm walking down. So when we have garden tours here, if somebody wants one, I dig it up, and it's so easy because it's right on the edge, right near a rock. So it's easy to move the rock and get that little plant out. And we're right next to the shed. So there's shovels and spades and potting soil and containers and everything right in there. So I can pot one up and give them to anybody who wants one. I gave 2 away on my last garden tour. So anyway, that's what this garden ended up looking like. I'll back up a little bit so you can see it. Again, we're looking at it, and it's the sunniest that it gets right now. That full-on sun late in the day. Couldn't be happier with what we picked. I did purchase another arborvitae for this, and then I thought that it's the very definition of insanity to keep doing the same thing and expect a different result. So I saved that for somewhere else. So I do want to fill in some more of the little spots in here. But again, we're just waiting to see what's going to fill out, how much space is going to be left, and then I'll tuck some more things in as I need to. But for right now, especially from our kitchen window, this looks really, really nice, and I'm very happy. All right, we'll see you next time. So many options here.